Welcome back to the 25th anniversary celebration of Dairy Business Association. We're at the 2025 Dairy Strong Conference Prelude. We're at the tailgating event to get everybody in the spirit at Lambeau Field, and I'm joined by Mike North. Now, Mike North has been involved with Dairy Business Association just about since its inception, and I want to talk to you first of all on what you were doing business-wise when you first became aware of Dairy Business Association, because DBA's evolution and Mike North's evolution are an example of, shall we say, kindred spirits and how the dairy industry can move you.
Well, I was a kid. I literally was 5 years out of school and getting established in my career and running around the country, meeting dairymen and talking about the challenges of markets. And, you know, we were 5 years into having risk management tools from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So it was a fresh experience. And I, encountered this group of guys in Wisconsin that said, hey, prices aren't our only risk. We have political risk as well. And as we began the conversation, it was clear at that time that our company needed to be involved. We needed to be a part of the organization. And so we jumped in, and it was only about 7-8 years later I was on the board, and it's been an incredible run.
You said you were one of the first corporate partners?
Yeah, back in those early years, there was a handful of companies that came together and supported the efforts. And what made DBA unique was it wasn't just a producer organization. It not only encouraged corporate membership, but invited our presence at the table to be able to speak collectively about the issues that face the dairy industry, not just on the farm, but as that permeates across ag business throughout the state, all the supporting industry that, comes together at the farm to really help dairy maintain and grow its presence.
Well, and just like you, DBA has blossomed to be more than just a one-state organization. Tell me about that growth. I mean, you saw the need for your services flourish. DBA's seen the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the beautiful thing about the dairy community is that it is a family on a lot of levels. And, as I would meet dairymen and engage them on risk management, they would introduce me to their family members who also had an operation somewhere else in the state or in the country, which would lead me to, a new region, and they would introduce me to their neighbors and their friends and their family. And this family environment is really what makes us so strong. And so as we look at, the DBA, that presence of leadership wasn't just contained inside of the state borders. People would share what we were doing outside of the borders. It led us to Washington, D.C. to, testify on all sorts of different policies, farm bill initiatives, et cetera, which led us to dairymen in other states that said, boy, we wish we had DBA in our state. And, as we launched the co-op and as that became a multi-state opportunity, we were able to take some of those early, Wisconsin-born initiatives and really share that with dairymen across the upper Midwest and be able to capitalize on this need for a voice inside of policy and inside the industry to talk about real issues, what the future looks like, what we need, and how we can all work together to solve the problem.
If you're just joining us, Mike North from Evrag, former board member with Dairy Business Association, celebrating the 25th anniversary along with me at Lambeau Field. Let's talk a little bit about what you recall being the issues or the important topics when you were a board member, Mike, versus what they're talking about today. Some have changed, some very much remain the same.
Yeah, and on the things that remain the same, immigration has been a discussion literally since I got on the board 16 years ago. It has been a tough issue to push through either sides of the aisle, either of the houses of Congress. It is very tough to make progress there. And so we've encountered all forms of resistance. We have put forward a lot of very creative ideas and initiatives and potential solutions. We're not going to stop. It's important. If you look at the demographics of this country, our birth rates are such that we aren't getting more help. We are getting less and less and less. And so we're solving some of that surely with robotics and automation, but people still matter when you're caring for animals, and so we're going to always need people. And so that's an issue that we're going to continue to fight for. There have been some others that we've been able to really work hard on. When I was first on the board, one of the first things that we encountered was supply management. And when you're in a region that is not only known for being America's dairyland, but growing and thriving, it's very difficult when DC gets involved and says, no, you can't. And so we fought very difficult decisions and difficult people along the way to get that thrown out. It was a big success for us. We worked on siting legislation, which helped us establish the possibility for a dairy to grow with reasonable guidelines and to be able to move through the process without getting railroaded and sidetracked along the way.
Well, those are just a few of the items that, like you said, are being discussed. Got to ask you, it takes a lot of time to be on a board, especially if you're active on a board. You've got a good staff now. You see a lot of your other compatriots in different areas of agribusiness. How do you encourage them to find value in activity beyond just a convention? As a board member, committee member, taking time away to go to the Capitol in Madison, or maybe it's DC. How do you find value as a business owner, but as somebody that's got their heart in dairy?
Well, it starts with a passion. And the reality of it is many of us in the industry come from dairy farms. So, our hearts are connected to the space. So it's not hard to keep that passion alive. But I think, if you look beyond it, if you want to just take the route of logic, reality is that the success of this industry relies on being able to continue growing it and maintaining it and allowing it to thrive in a changing political landscape among a consumer that is more and more removed from the farm and less informed about where their food comes from. And frankly, as a result, policy initiatives are often seemingly dreamt up out of nowhere, and it writes the rules by which we have to behave as business owners, as dairymen, and so forth. And so for us to go forward into the future, if we have a vision for the future, then we need to be involved, because if we don't tell our story, if we're not advocates for our industry, then the story gets told for us, the rules get written for us, and we play by someone else's rules that may not have any real idea of exactly what they're, regulating.
Well, isn't the phrase, if you're not at the table, you're on the table?
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. I'd rather be the one holding the knife.
Mike North from Everag. Like I said, I grabbed him because he's one of the board members that started, like you said, more than 16 years ago. Just a testimony to how those that began an organization that's 25 years young are sticking with that same organization. From the 25th anniversary of Dairy Business Association at Dairy Strong 2025, with Mike North, I'm Pam Yankee.